Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of B&A Sports Talk. Now, I want to talk about the 2019 Dallas Cowboys and how they remind me of this other team and what they should do moving forward. So let's just begin. And the Dallas Cowboys really remind me of the 2010 Los Angeles Chargers. Because a couple months ago, I was watching this video by SB Nation, how the Chargers they had the number one offense as far as yards, the number one defense as far as yards allowed. They had enough turnovers to not be awful. I mean, they had like a -6 turnover differential, but it's not horrible. And somehow they went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. And that's very similar to what the Cowboys did. They were number one in total yards on offense. They were number 9 on total yards on defense. All the boxes checked off. They were decent on turnovers. And somehow they didn't make it. Now with the Chargers, it was a story about their special teams. And Dallas had some problems with their special team. They struggled with kicker this year a little bit. I was looking at some stats with the Los Angeles Chargers and Dallas Cowboys. Both struggled with in their season where they disappointed. And if you look at the season before, the Los Angeles Chargers went 13-3. You had all this talent, especially going into the new year with Norv Turner as head coach, Ron Rivera as defensive coordinator. You had all the coaches. You had everything. You had Sean Phillips. You had Eric Weddle. You had on offense, you had Phillip Rivers. I think LT retired at this time, but you still had Antonio Gates. You had enough wide receivers. And they were somewhat banged up, but the Los Angeles Chargers were primed for a run. And it turns out some games they lost just randomly. The games that they should have won, they lost. They lost a lot of games by 7 and 3 points and ended up with a plus 100 point differential, but it wasn't enough. And the Dallas Cowboys finished with a plus 100 differential too. I know I'm shouting a bunch of stats at you, but I'll have them obviously on the screen, some of them. I know it's kind of hard to follow, but the Dallas Cowboys, they had a plus 100 differential as well. They were second in third down conversions and fourth down conversions, I think. Well, third down conversions on offense and defense. And the Chargers were fourth, in third down conversions on offense and defense too. So they were extending drives and they were getting the defense off the field. So, both teams were expected to win around 11 games. You look at the expected win totals. I'm not sure if I have them on the screen, but both expected win totals around 11 wins, and that's easily in the playoffs. But both teams ended up subpar. 8-8 for the Dallas Cowboys, 9-7 for the Los Angeles Chargers. For the Los Angeles Chargers, they spent one more year with Norv Turner before they went on to Mike McCoy. And the Dallas Cowboys ended up getting rid of Jason Garrett. We'll talk about more about what they should do in the future later. But the Dallas Cowboys, they had some stats in the punt return game that were very questionable. With the average punt return. And these little things added up. With the Chargers, there's more obvious things. Guys returning kickoffs. That's not happening with the Dallas Cowboys. I think the main thing that happened with them is that they didn't have a galvanizing leader. They didn't have a hoorah guy. They had so much expectations on them that they didn't play the game of football. They weren't having fun. And you look at teams like Tennessee, they're having fun. Teams like Seattle, well, they were having fun before all the injuries. The teams that have fun generally win. This is America's team right here. This is not, team in the middle of nowhere. This is no like Pittsburgh, Rust Belt, strong state. This is not even a Kansas City, team. Kansas City is showing more life than the Dallas Cowboys. You got to have some moxie. You're America's team. Don't take advantage of your fans. They think that their fans are just going to show up and pay money and drink the beer and buy parking tickets. No, you have to work to get your fandom. You actually have to work for everything. And, this team had no moxie. They had no oomph to them. They just had we're going to play the game. We're all getting paid. They paid DeMarcus Lawrence. They paid Lyle Collins. I think Tyron Smith, Zach Moss. Everyone's paid. Everyone's taken care of. And even Zeke Elliott, he's taken care of. They don't have anything really to fight for. People are like, oh, they have nothing to play for now. They don't have money to play for. Now they're going to win the Super Bowl like the flick of a button. And that's not always what happened. You lost to the Jets. That was a horrible loss. You lost the games you should have won. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, but you lost some games that you really should have won coming down the stretch. And it was really disappointing. You lost to the Bears, for crying out loud. Like, come on. How do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, we should have made the playoffs when you're losing all of these games? And the Dallas Cowboys, it wasn't just randomness and the flow of winning and losing. They did it themselves. Unlike the Los Angeles Chargers, You can point to some, the special teams, missing field goals and stuff. Dallas Cowboys got blown up by the Jets. They got blown up by the Jets. And, so what they should do moving forward, I agree, obviously, with firing Jason Garrett. But that was a decision they should have made 3 years ago. You should have gotten off him. You should have drafted a quarterback, maybe, in, previous rounds in previous years to back up Dak Prescott, not have a bum as backup, to pressure Dak Prescott, not to actually play well. You have to have the same guy in that locker room being like, Dak Prescott, if you don't play well, I'm out. So I'd franchise Dak Prescott. I'd draft a quarterback pretty high, maybe second round, try to get a Julian Love, develop him, and you have to get a hoorah guy. You have to get a hoorah guy as your head coach. As much as Jason Garrett was trying to be a hoorah guy, he really wasn't. His message was lost with this team. His message was completely lost. You need to bring in a new, fresh face who does things a completely different way. Bring in a Robert Saleh. Bring in a Matt Rule, whom I want him for the Giants, but bring in a guy who's going to create some discipline and some fun into this team. A little bit of both. You don't need an X's and O's guy. I know people saying, they should bring in a, Josh McDaniels, who's smart with the X's and O's. Bring in a Kyle Shanahan type mind. You know what? That doesn't really work. You have a veteran quarterback now, somewhat in Dak Prescott. He should be fine. He knows how to do the play action. He knows how to give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. This is your team right here. You can't strip down and break everything down. You can't. You have a bunch of talent on this team. In the first round, I'd get a cornerback, get an elite defensive back. I would trade for Jamal Adams in free agency, and you have to get really good in this secondary. You have to get really, really good. As far as pass rush, you have to expect the guy that you pay that much money to play better. You have to expect him to play better. And there's nothing much you can do on that defensive line. You have a bunch of talent. You have Robert Quinn. You have DeMarcus Lawrence. Maybe get another defensive tackle, but your linebacking core is stud-filled. You're getting Leighton Vander Esch back. The only thing they're missing is a secondary here. And all of a sudden you start causing turnovers. You get some playmakers on that secondary that are going to intercept the ball, give your offense more chances to score, and I think that they're going to be successful next year. I really do. I'm a Giants fan, and you get Dak Prescott, who's a capable quarterback. I think that he got injured down the stretch. That's why I think he was mainly inaccurate. Everyone's going to count them out next year, and they're going to exceed expectations. That's just the normal ebbs and flows. So the Cowboys, they're probably going to win the division next year. Now, you're still going to have Randall Cobb. You have to pay Amari Cooper. They have a lot of money to spend. Again, you franchise Dak. You have to re-sign Amari Cooper. And you get a cornerback in the first couple rounds, a young cornerback to challenge all these, cornerbacks that they have now. You have to create some intensity and some passion with this team. They have the $1 billion stadium. They have the best training facilities. You have to bring some new people in to be like, whoa, let's have a fresh mindset here. Eventually, the same message with Jason Garrett was over and over again. Bring in a good new coach. Bringing in a defensive player who wants to play for the Cowboys like Jamal Adams does. He loves the Dallas Cowboys. He was rumored to want to play for him. He with the Jets, he doesn't want to play there. So you bring in guys that are like, oh, I love this. This is great. This is Dallas. And all of a sudden, guys are like, you know what? This is Dallas. And we are going to play better. But, again, they're the Dallas Cowboys. They're probably going to, they're accident waiting to happen anyway. So, whatever. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think the Dallas Cowboys should do in the offseason. Again, my name is Anthony. I usually don't say that. It just felt right for me saying that right then. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.